Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 12. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakura. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari mandates security chiefs to rescue abducted train passengers. Others. INEC budget 239 billion naira for poll materials, presidential runoff. Plus, World Bank pegs rebuilding of Ukraine infrastructure at $60 billion. Details of the stories and more in a moment. First on our news today, this is a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has directed security agencies to ensure the rescue of passengers kidnapped on the Abuja-Kaduna train, which was attacked 3 weeks ago. National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Mongunu, discloses to State House correspondents after the first 2022 meeting of the National Security Council, presided over by the President at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Mongunu said the President had directed all security agencies to work in concert to ensure the rescue of passengers immediately and unhurt. Away from that, in a bid to ensure increased agricultural productivity and job creation, the federal government has concluded plans to unveil Hello Tractor initiative. In a statement, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Dr. Mohammed Abubakar, said the Pay-As-You-Go tractor financing scheme will be unveiled on April 28, 2022. According to him, the launch scheduled to hold in Abuja is a follow-up to an earlier soft launch which witnessed the presentation of 7 tractors to beneficiaries across 3 locations of Abuja, Nasarawa, and Enugu State in the country. Reports say Haifa International will be providing funding for the project through its Ayute Africa Challenge competition platform as part of its strategic goal of assisting over 1 million farmers in Africa to reach a sustainable living income by the year 2030. Elsewhere, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige has said the federal government will consider taking the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU to the Industrial Court if the reconciliation process to resolve the ongoing strike fails. Speaking in an interview with newsmen, Ngige warned ASU to refrain from intimidating officials in the Ministry of Digital Communications and Economy and the National Information Technology Development Agency over the deployment of the University Transparency Account system proposed by the union. The minister also claimed the union has threatened the Minister of Digital Communications and Economy, Issa Pantami, with revocation of his professorship. Recall that ASU embarked on 1-month warning strike on February 14, 2022, citing its dissatisfaction with the federal government, disappointing response on the matters raised by the union. To the legislature, where the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on the State of Refineries in Nigeria has summoned the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timipre Sylva, and the Group Managing Director of Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, as well as officials of the management of the nation's refineries to appear before the committee, which condemned the invites for allegedly shunning a series of invitations to its investigative hearing, threatened to invoke legislative powers against them at a press briefing in Abuja. Chairman of the committee, Ganiyu Johnson, has said men appearing by the stakeholders warned investigative hearing of the committee scheduled for March 31st, 2022. And now to electoral matters, where the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it will spend not less than 239.2 billion naira on procuring voting materials and vehicles that will be used in the 2023 general elections. This is according to the 2023 general election project plan launched by INEC in Abuja yesterday. Reports say 78.44% of its 305 billion naira budget will be spent on 10 critical items, which include ballot papers, operational vehicles, ballot boxes, allowance of ad hoc workers, printing of result sheets, logistics and procurement of accreditation devices. Also included in the budget is the 27.1 billion naira set aside by the Commission for possible runoff elections, including the one for the presidential poll. On security, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed that amid growing insecurity in the country, the creation of state police would be a better option than community policing. Obasanjo made this disclosure when the leadership of the National Association of Ex-Local Government Chairmen in Nigeria paid him a courtesy visit in Abeokuta on Wednesday. A statement by his special assistant on media, Kehinde Akinyemi, hinted the visit was led by the Pioneer National Chairman, Honorable Albert Asipa, the Ogun State Chapter Chairman, Honorable Shoyemi Koka, Honorable Chinwe Monu Olarewaju, Delta State Chairman, BOT, and the traditional ruler of Odobolu, His Royal Highness Oba Toye Majid Alatise Begande of Ososa, a former chairman of Ijebu-Ode local government area of Ogun State, among others. Meanwhile, following the recent and frequent attacks on police formations and personnel in the southeast by armed assailants, Inspector General of Police IG Usman Baba has ordered the immediate deployment of additional operational assets to complement officers and men attached to Operation Restore Peace. In a statement, the IG, who condemned the spate of attacks on police officers' facilities and other police operational assets around the nation, warned that attacks on police officers in line with the duty will no longer be tolerated under whatever guise, as the force holds the lives of its personnel sacrosanct. Baba, in a statement by the police spokesperson Moiwa Adejobi, reiterated the commitment of the force to protection of lives and property, while stressing that it is vital to respect the lives and fundamental rights of police officers and other security operatives to enable them to advance their sacred mandate of serving and protecting the citizens better. In a related development, Rivers State Governor and the People's Democratic Party's presidential aspirant, Nyesom Wike, and his Taraba State counterpart, Darius Ishaku, have insisted on state police as one of the possible ways to check in insecurity in the country. According to the DOE, establishing state police will be one enduring approach to addressing the decaying insecurity in Nigeria. Wike, who was in Taraba to woo delegates of the PDP in the state ahead of the PDP presidential primaries, while dismissing the arguments against the need for state police, said the federal government cannot stop insecurity without state police. Back here in Akwa Ibom State, immediate past commissioner for economic development in the state, Akan Okon, has assured Akwa Ibomites of his readiness to provide a visionary and purposeful leadership that would engender rapid economic growth, inclusive development, and shared prosperity if elected as governor come 2023. Mr. Okon gave the assurance during his Thanksgiving and official declaration to run for the office of a governor under the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the next year general elections. Our correspondent completes the report.
On Thursday, Akwa Ibomites gathered at the West Itam Secondary School, Itam, to witness the official declaration of Mr. Akanokun to run for the office of the governor in 2023. The moment gave the immediate past commissioner for economic development in the state the opportunity to offer praises and thanksgiving to God for the grace to serve under the past and present administrations.
I have served meritoriously in different ministries under the administration of His Excellency Senator Gosling Akpabio and His Excellency Governor Udomi Manda. I understand the workings of government. As part of my desire to continue to offer quality services to our state, I intend to harness the accrued technocratic experience to ensure good governance in our state. I am poised to add value and to offer value-added leadership for shared prosperity. And what I mean there is that in Akwa Ibom State, under my leadership, prosperity will not be for the few. Prosperity will be for all.
The paramount ruler of its local government area, His Majesty Etidem Edetapan, while commenting on the occasion, thanked the People's Democratic Party for giving all aspirants a level playing field. He advised Akwa Ibomites to choose the right leaders who would mean well for the people.
I want Akwa Ibomites, all the Akwa Ibomites, to look closely, not on sentiment, but let us now choose somebody who can redeem this very state. When you look at Akwa Ibom, economically, we are viable, we have mineral, but we need somebody that will harness these very resources, both natural resources and human resources. Akwa Ibom has been endowed with, so that the state will develop, not mediocrity. We need people who know the job to handle the development of this state for us. So God will give us the best. God will give me an Akwa Ibom, and those that love this Akwa Ibom, the best among them. That's my comment. Thank you.
The event drew top-ranking personalities in the state, as well as stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party in the state. Hansen Uko, Spectrum Television News.
Still in Akwa Ibom State, as the World marks World Earth Day, an academic professor with the University of Uyo, Professor Ekanam, has called for collaborative efforts to save the planet. Speaking on Spectrum Television Rise and Shine show, the professor called for an end to tree cutting of burning and also bush burning and other harmful practices that affect the environment.
Who do as individuals, like we keep saying, don't cut down trees. The only thing keeping us alive and comfortable are trees and ocean, which we call the carbon sinks. They are the ones that are taking away the excess carbon dioxide that we have, cleaning our environment. There are some things like, let me give you an example. In our environment, we have everybody drilling boreholes. No regulation, no nothing. Everybody has it because the agency that supplies water has failed. So everybody goes on his own way. We see people burning things. Anywhere they just burn things. It doesn't happen in any civilized society anymore. Waste management is becoming a major problem. From in household to the community to the state, it's a serious problem. Those are things we can easily handle.
In Africa, Kenya has announced it will host a meeting between rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the government of Kinshasa. The announcement was made on Thursday after a meeting of leaders from Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo that met in Nairobi to discuss violence by armed groups on the DR Congo. Reports say Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, during Thursday's meeting with the leaders, sought to establish a regional force to neutralize armed groups in the region, adding that recent fighting in eastern DR Congo has pitted government forces against rebels from the M23 movement, a group that emerged from the Congolese Tutsi rebellion. Kenya's former president, Mwai Kibaki, has died. Alright, another still on African news. We report that a president at the age of 90 has died. Announcing his death, President Uhuru Kenyatta eulogized the former president Kibaki of Kenyan politics, saying he was a patriarch for the values for which he lived. His ideals, his dignity, his diligence, candor, and concern for all well-being of all Kenyans. President Kenyatta said that as a leading figure in post-independence Kenyan history, Kibaki earned the respect and affection of Kenyan people and other nations around the world, ordering all flags in the country and diplomatic missions to fly at half-mast. Kenyatta also said the former president, who was president from 2010 2002 to 2012 will be accorded a state funeral, adding that the country will be in national mourning until sunset on the day former president will be buried. Still in Africa, an Egyptian court has sentenced the former member of parliament and others to 10 years in prison for smuggling antique articles out of the country. The former member of parliament, Allah Hassanin, and 4 others will be serving 10 years, while Hassan Ratib, a prominent businessman, and 17 others will face 5 years in prison. Reports say those sentenced have been fined 1 million Egyptian pounds each as part of Egypt's drastic step-up effort in recent years to stop the trafficking of its articles. Meanwhile, the country has in recent years warned foreign museums that it will not help them mount exhibits on ancient Egyptian antiquities until they return smuggled artifacts. Still to come in the news, Man United captain Maguire gets bomb threat. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. On the foreign scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has told the world's finance ministers that his country needs $7 billion in aid every month until the summer to keep functioning. Volodymyr Zelensky also said hundreds of billions of dollars will be needed to rebuild all that has been destroyed by the war. He was addressing an International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank conference via video link from Kyiv. Zelensky also said the global community needed to exclude Russia from international financial institutions, including the World Bank, IMF, and others.
Економічні зв'язки ми потребуємо до 7 мільярдів доларів США фінансової підтримки щомісячно. І для відновлення після цієї війни Україна буде потребувати ще сотень мільярдів доларів. Потрібно негайно виключити Росію з усіх міжнародних фінансових інституцій. Міжнародний валютний фонд, Світовий банк та інші точно не місце для такої держави, яка намагається зруйнувати життя сусіднього народу.
Meanwhile, World Bank President David Malpass has said physical damage to Ukraine's building and infrastructure from Russia's invasion has reached roughly $60 billion. Malpa stated this during interaction with other financial stakeholders after being addressed by Ukraine President on the implications of the ongoing war in Ukraine. Still on the foreign scene, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has revealed that Ukrainian troops are in the UK being trained on now how to use the armored vehicles Britain is supplying to repel Russian forces. Reports say Britain is providing Ukraine with 120 armored patrol vehicles, including the Mastiff, which can be used as a reconnaissance or patrol vehicle. Johnson's press secretary said a couple of dozen Ukrainian soldiers were currently in the UK for training, adding that Britain and its allies were providing Ukrainian soldiers with new types of equipment that they may not have used before. On our business news now, Brent, the global benchmark for crude oil, rose marginally in price on Thursday, as the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries projected that the demand growth for oil will continue this year. In its statement to the International Monetary and Financial Committee meeting of ministers and governors for April 2022, released on Thursday, OPEC stated that oil price has been on the rise, particularly in March this year. It said the ICE Brent benchmark had averaged near $98 per barrel in the first quarter 2022, about $18 higher than its value in the fourth quarter of 2021, stressing that this was due to the escalating geopolitical tensions in Eastern Europe and the concern that it might result in large oil supply shortages amid trade dislocations. Still on our business news, the International Monetary Fund says the impact of the war in Ukraine is likely to sustain pressure on commodity prices, affecting oil and gas prices severely in 2022 and food prices well into 2023 in Nigeria and other countries of the world. The Washington-based lender disclosed this in its World Economic Outlook, which borders on how the war has contributed to setback in the global recovery. According to it, inflation is expected to remain high and far longer than it had previously forecasted. The IMF added that energy and food prices contributed significantly to the headline inflation in 2021 in varying degrees across the regions. According to it, the sharp hike in oil and gas prices led to an increase in energy costs. And in health, the Kogi state government has confirmed 41 new cases of Lassa fever, with 7 dates from January till date. A statement issued by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Alonge Daniel, was made available to journalists in Lokoja that 9 local government areas, namely Ida, Ibaji, Lokoja, Ajaokuta, Ofukene, Okehi, Keba, and Adavi have reported at least 1 confirmed case during the period. Alonge noted that the ministry had responded appropriately and timely to the epidemic through the release of funds by Governor Yahaya Bello to curb the outbreak, adding that the ministry is collaborating with other line ministries, especially the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, and other partners to curtail the outbreak and prevent the further spread of the disease. In sports, Harry Maguire's house was checked by police yesterday after the Manchester United captain received a bomb threat. England defender Maguire, who lives with his fiancée and 2 children, has endured a difficult season with club and country, but it is not known who made the threat. Reports say in the last 24 hours, Harry has received a serious threat to his family home, and he has reported this to the police, who are now looking into the matter. On our entertainment news, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has pledged to ensure justice for the late gospel music star Osinachi Nwachukwu, who died recently following alleged maltreatment and assault by her husband. Peter Nwachukwu, CAN President Reverend Samson Ayokunle gave the pledge in a statement in Abuja condemning the gruesome murder of the late gospel music minister. Ayakunle, who described the Sinachi's untimely demise as sad and worrisome, commiserated with her family and promised to ensure that justice was not perverted in the matter. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel